A man of God. There are two avenues open for a discussion of the phrase, a man of God. It might be applied to the man who is merely used by God, or can refer to the man who actually belongs to God. While there is much that would be common to both these lines of interpretation, there is also much that is widely divergent. Many of the most sinful men have been employed in the divine economy, and often without knowing it. Little did Nero realize his cruelty converted others to kindness. Little did Rip Van Winkle guess that his habits of drinking turned down others to sobriety. Little did Shylock dream that his stinginess only served to make others more benevolent. Little did Benedict Arnold surmise that his betrayal of home and country aroused others to patriotism. Little did Voltaire suspect that his atheism kindled for others the joy of belief. God can utilize any man for his glory and give wisdom to the wise, even through the lips of the foolish. The man who is used to the best advantage in the kingdom is the man who, through faith, belongs to God, who has come to love the Lord with all his heart, mind, and soul, and who consciously serves him, seeks daily to do his will. In picturing a man of God, one imagines a servant like John or Moses who has matured with the years and grown mellow in the nearer and sweeter presence of God. Spiritual life is a growth, a continuous progression towards a heavenly ideal. The very first glance at such a life arrests us and wins our approbation. The believer, of course, shares much with the unbeliever, yet there is something which sets them strangely apart. We can never conceive of the man of God as being childish, sentimental, or erratic. There is something about him that is unique and sublime. His character bears the insignia of health, strength, and beauty. There is a harmony in his movements, a firmness in his step, a dignity in his bearing, a flush in his cheek, a tenderness in his eye, and in his voice the music of a love divine. He needs no trumpet to announce his coming, no herald to proclaim his virtue, no choir to sing his praise. He comes among us transfigured in the dawn and moves to and fro amid the avenues of need to succor and to bless. Being a man of God, he is all for God. His speech, his acts, his gifts, his sympathies, his business, his associations show clearly that he is concerned entirely about the glory of the Father. No selfish interest prompts him, no mercenary motive stirs him, no yearning for fame propels him. No craving for applause causes him to lose his equilibrium. His one aim is to serve the Lord, and he does it with gladness. He feels that he is no longer his own, that he has been bought with an awful price. His disposition, therefore, is generous. There is with him no choosing of the plains of Sodom, no hiding of gold in a sack, no lifting of stones to hurl at the sinner, no burying of talents in the ground. Freely he has received, and hence he is ready to freely give. He does unto others as they should do unto him. He lends to the poor, remembering his wealth is a trust. He forgives his neighbors, as God in Christ has forgiven him. He seeks out the lost, rejoicing that he himself has been found. The man of God knows that he has been called to be a messenger of mercy, priest of pity, and an ambassador of love. His temper is valiant. He glows with that determination which fears no principalities and shrinks not from death. Time and time again he is challenged by a Pharaoh or a Goliath or an Ahab, but he takes the gauntlet in his teeth and promptly decides the issue. He believes liberty is vital, that truth must reign, and that everywhere righteousness should prevail. He stands out courageously as the champion of the individual, the home, society, and the state. Yet the hypocrisy of religion knows the fury of his wrath, and the corruption of politics shares the cut of his sword. He has no ground to give when honor is at stake. He has no compromise to offer when principle is involved. He has no excuse to plead when duty calls. He is always ready to storm the ramparts of evil and strive for the advancement of all that is good. Through it all, the man of God is reverentially in manner. His judgment is not only tempered with mercy, it is refined and strengthened by an active sense of worship. The things around him are immensely sacred. He cannot hear the warbling of the birds in the trees. He cannot watch the drift of a cloud in the sky. He cannot scent the fragrance of the flowers in the garden. He cannot listen to the babbling brook at his feet. He cannot touch a human hand or look into a human face without feeling that the Lord of all is near. He moves among the things that breathe out eternal meanings and that wear the garments of beauty that fade not away. In the myriad wonders of earth, sea, and sky, and in the midst of varying circumstances of men and women, where battles are fought and victories are won, the man of God is sure to pause and bow the head, knowing that the ground whereon he treads is holy. He is distinguished for his spirit of devotion. In every environment and in all conditions, he kneels at the altar to pray. If the wind should blow in the valley of his wandering, if the sunbeam should dance in the glens of his pleasure, if the darkness should gather in the chamber of his dwelling, if death should appear in the very midst of life, the man of God never fails to find comfort in the language and spirit of prayer. One might conclude that such a portrait of the man of God is a fantasy of the imagination, that its coloring is far too heavenly, that it has no real counterpart among the things of earth. Reflect on the life of Moses. Think of the glory of that character who held his struggling and complaining people in unity for 40 years. Think of the magnificence of that purpose which opened wide the heavy gates in the house of bondage. Think of the grandeur of that self-sacrifice which was offered humbly in a howling wilderness. Think of the splendor of that fortitude which was seen in Egypt, at Sinai, and within sight of the Promised Land. Think of that majesty, of that reverence which was visible by the Red Sea. Think of the charm of those invocations which were voiced amid idolatry in the tabernacle and beside the tent of Aaron. Many other consecrated lives have been set in the same rich and fadeless hues. Joseph, Daniel, Constantine, and Tertullian. I would whisper to you the prayer of Stephen. Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. I would let you hear again the words of the Earl of Norton by the grave of John Knox. He lies here who never feared the face of man. I would help you to catch afresh the cry of Latimer as the flames leaped about him. Play the man, Master Ridley. We shall all this day light such a candle, by God's grace, that shall never be put out. I would have you watch once more John Brown, kissing the little black baby as it nestled in its mother's arms on his way to the scaffold, and mounting the steps to die with thanksgiving on his lips that he was counted worthy to suffer for such a cause. I would like you to read with new zeal the story of Livingstone, pouring out the treasures of his life in the burning waste of Africa, of Gordon standing loyally at his post in the shadows of faraway Khartoum, of Jesus bearing the pain and shame of the cross for the sin of the world. What shade could be too delicate? What tone too glorious? What background too luminous for the canvas of men like that? I just wonder if the divine artist will need all that wealth of material when he comes to paint your portrait and mine. I wonder if we have so lived, or that we shall so live in righteousness, that coming generations will rejoice to find our tombstone bearing the epitaph, "A Man of God."